All right. So, hi everyone. I'm Karina Gasbarrino, co-founder and COO of Sonaro. We're a digital health startup with a mission to make 3D diagnostic ultrasound for vascular disease simple and accessible to all. So at Sonaro, we are in the business of tackling the critical issue of stroke risk misclassification. So to bring this into perspective, let me introduce you to one of our patients, Maria, a 62-year-old grandmother. Now, a few months ago, Maria's life took an unexpected turn as she began to experience debilitating migraines. Now, a 2D ultrasound exam of her neck artery revealed the presence of a fatty buildup called plaque. Her physician interpreted that plaque as being minimal risk and decided that he would only screen Maria again in 1 year. But 4 months later, Maria suffered a devastating stroke, leaving her paralyzed and robbed of her ability to speak. Now, unfortunately, Maria is not alone. Close to 30% of all patients that are screened for plaques using 2D ultrasound, which is the primary imaging tool, are misclassified for their risk of stroke. So in the US alone, that equals to 1.8 million Americans each year at risk of death, paralysis, or some form of speech impairment. Now, why is this the case? Well, despite being cheap, safe, and widely available, 2D ultrasound has serious limitations. One being that it is heavily operator dependent, meaning that even slight variations in the probe angle could lead to faulty results and bad quality imaging. As a result, in over 43% of cases, additional costly imaging is required just to confirm the diagnosis. But that's not all. The image interpretation process is manual, subjective, and ignores the complex 3D structure of the plaque. So these inefficiencies burden healthcare providers and they delay patient care. But now imagine a future that's free from these challenges. And so that's where Sonaro steps in. We've developed Vaso 3D. It's an AI-powered software solution with 3D capabilities to address these limitations in 2D ultrasound imaging. So with Vaso 3D, we offer three main values for patients, healthcare providers, and the healthcare system as a whole. So firstly, we can reduce diagnostic errors by creating these precise 3D reconstructions of the vessel wall and providing an automated analysis of plaque burden and stroke risk. Secondly, we can reduce workload burden by eliminating reliance on the operator and promoting the accessibility of our technology, even in areas where specialized healthcare resources and expertise are limited. And then finally, we can also promote a faster diagnosis by allowing 4 times more billable scans to be performed per day, increasing revenue and alleviating imaging backlogs. And so how does Vaso 3D work? Well, the Vaso 3D workflow comprises 3 essential steps. So first is data collection. So using an off-the-shelf 2D ultrasound probe and an electromagnetic sensor, we capture the necessary data in the form of 2D images and positional data. Now, traditionally, performing an ultrasound exam of the carotid artery doesn't require a sensor, so simply just the probe, and it can take anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes to perform. However, with Vaso 3D, data capture is completed in under a minute. Then this data gets uploaded to our cloud platform, where it's transformed into a precise 3D model of the neck artery. Our software then analyzes this 3D model, generating a detailed analysis report that's given to the clinician, and then highlights all the critical clinical metrics of plaque severity and stroke risk. Now, conventional analysis and reporting on 2D images takes days or even weeks to provide results to the patient. Our platform processes the 3D data and provides this diagnostic report all within minutes, enabling all of this to be completed during the same patient session. Now, overall, Vaso 3D really empowers clinicians with the tools to deliver a more accurate and quicker diagnosis and informed treatment plan. Now, I want to elaborate on the data collection process because Vaso 3D is not just an AI-powered analysis and 3D modeling system. It also streamlines this entire ultrasound acquisition and workflow. So we designed Vaso 3D to be hardware agnostic. So that means that it integrates seamlessly with any existing 2D ultrasound probes, so even portable devices, making it highly cost-effective and accessible. Additionally, it's also compatible with various off-the-shelf sensors to gather this precise positional tracking information. Now, we have formed a strategic partnership with Northern Digital Inc., which gives us exclusive access to their advanced sensor technology, specifically for our application. And therefore, NDI sensor will be included as part of our software package to clients. And we chose NDI really because they are the largest global manufacturer of medical sensors, giving us a significant competitive edge in the market. Now, the use of this sensor really allows us to streamline the ultrasound exam process. As you'll see here, the sonographer is able to just do a single sweep through the artery, which takes less than a minute to perform. And this also makes it possible for any healthcare provider with limited expertise to perform this type of exam. Now, we launched our first pilot studies in Montreal in a simulated clinical environment where we compared Sonaro's technology to a traditional 2D exam and showcased a remarkable 10 times faster ultrasound scan time, while also achieving over 90% accuracy in our results compared to expert radiologist interpretation. And these pilot studies were led by our in-house sonographer, Rafia Khan, who's also a sonographer at the Jewish General Hospital, and our clinical imaging advisor, Dr. Taj, who is the vice chair of radiology at Johns Hopkins. Now, building on the success of this initial study, we'll be extending our clinical validation to the US and Mexico and private medical imaging centers. And these studies will really pave the way for our 510(k) application to the FDA. In order to help with hospital integration and market entry, we'll also be launching our first in-hospital trials in 2025 in the US and Canada, leveraging our network of clinical advisors and partners. Now, Basal 3D is classified as a Class 2 software as a medical device. So in order to obtain FDA approval, we'll undergo the 510(k) pathway, leveraging two predicate devices. We're currently awaiting a pre-submission meeting with the FDA to finalize the design of our pilot studies, and we anticipate to submit our FDA application by mid-2025. Now, Sonaro operates in a competitive landscape that includes two main types of competitors. So first are manufacturers of traditional 3D ultrasound machines, whom face challenges with operator dependency and also very high costs, ranging from $60,000 to $80,000 per machine. On the other hand, we have developers of AI-powered imaging solutions that either focus on improving 2D imaging with simply AI and lack that critical 3D component, or they rely on costly or unsafe imaging alternatives like CT. Sonaro really differentiates itself by integrating the best aspects of these two approaches. We have a unique and proprietary methodology that allows us to deliver imaging capabilities of high-end 3D ultrasound machines and the diagnostic power of AI, all at a fraction of a cost, in a more accessible and clinically relevant way for healthcare providers. Now, importantly, we've taken the necessary measures to safeguard our intellectual property, which is entirely owned by Sonaro. Our IP portfolio includes both pending patents and trade secrets. So this past April, with the support of our legal team at Laurie, we submitted an international patent application that protects our unique methodology and proprietary software architecture. And we're currently awaiting a preliminary opinion from the Canadian Patent Office regarding this application. And then all of our algorithms and source code are secured as trade secrets. Now, our business strategy will unfold in two phases. So after FDA clearance in 2025, phase one will focus on targeting vascular imaging centers and hospitals across the US. We'll employ a SaaS model with a fee per scan approach alongside an annual service fee of $10,000, which will also cover the price of our sensor. Now, as we gain traction, partnerships with ultrasound manufacturers will broaden our market penetration, extending our reach to underserved regions, ultimately positioning Sonaro for strategic acquisition by one of these manufacturers. Now, with our phase one approach, we're targeting a sum of $325 million USD within the US based on the current number of scans that are performed annually. And we'll leverage the clinical network of our US advisor to target a beachhead market of Maryland, which represents a revenue potential of $2.5 million annually. However, it's important to note that as the cardiovascular disease market increases by 2% annual rate, driven by an aging global population, our technology really does stand to make an even greater impact. So by increasing the throughput of exams, our technology can help healthcare systems manage this rising burden of disease, boosting their capacity to serve more patients. Now, currently, we are a pre-revenue generating startup. However, we do anticipate a US product launch later in 2025 with deployment in 2 hospitals and 2 vascular imaging centers. By 2026, we aim to double our hospital presence and triple the number of vascular imaging centers, setting the foundation for profitability by 2027. Now, looking ahead, our scalability encompasses 3 critical aspects. So one is product expansion. So while our initial focus is on the artery scans of the neck, our platform is scalable to various vascular and other disease applications. Second is geographical expansion. So while we're starting in the US and Canada, we aim to address a global need with over 2/3 of the world lacking access to life-saving vascular diagnostics. And then finally, a market expansion where we're committed to addressing healthcare disparities, extending our reach to underserved regions. Now, none of this is possible without our exceptional team. So Sonaro's core members are a mix of MD and PhD alumni from McGill and MIT with over 30 years of combined experience in cardiovascular medicine, 3D imaging, and computer vision. We're also supported by various advisors from IP, business, and finance sectors. And our clinical advisors really span the spectrum of potential end users for our software. Now, upon closing of our current fundraising round, I will be transitioning into the role of CEO, while my co-founder, who is a resident in internal medicine, will be taking on the role of Chief Scientific Officer. Now, since our company's inception only a year and a half ago, we've made significant progress, including MVP development, IP protection, strategic partnerships, and the launch of our first pilot study. The next 6 months will really focus on clinical validation as we prepare to submit our 510(k) application. 2025 will be the year for our US product launch and those in-hospital trials. And by 2026, we'll also secure Health Canada approval and strengthen our market presence in the US through strategic partnerships with those ultrasound manufacturers. Now, to get us to our current stage, we've secured over $650,000 through non-dilutive grants, competitions, and also our first safe investment from Front Row Ventures. As we prepare for the significant milestones in the next 2 years, we are actively raising a seed round of $1.5 million by early 2025. We're currently undergoing due diligence with the Montreal General Hospital Foundation for a $100,000 investment and have an additional $300,000 in soft commitments. So with your support, we at Sonaro are redefining the landscape for stroke risk assessment by addressing the inadequacies in existing 2D ultrasound tools. Vaso 3D is designed to make a measurable impact, saving patients from misclassification, eliminating costly rescans, and also reducing lengthy examinations, allowing for a 4 times increase in patient throughput and revenue. So please join Sonaro in saving lives 1 scan at a time and ensure that no patient like Maria is ever missed again. Thank you.
Thank you, Karina. Great job. A little long, but
okay.
Yeah.
How long was it?
It was just under 13 minutes.
Okay, so a bit long.
Yeah, it's just about a minute long.
Very impressive. You've obviously done this before. This isn't your first pitch.
No, it isn't.
When I'm judging these things, I tend to write down the questions that are left in my mind. And every time I wrote one down, you answered it in the next slide, which is a little bit annoying, but really good for you. You did a really good job. I think you covered everything as the questions came up in my mind. I was left with one major question.
Okay.
I think you've done an incredible job showing why the doctors would like it and why the patients would like it. What is not clear to me yet was why the CFO of the hospital would like it.
Okay.
So essentially, what's sort of the business case? Because at the end of the day, they have to make a business case. So I think I could sort of piece it together from what you said about the time savings and whatnot, but I think it'd be worthwhile actually putting it down on a slide saying, from a hospital perspective, here's what's going to cost them, here's what's going to save them, and what the payback period is going to be. Because I think it's going to be impressive. But I think don't make me try to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, okay, that's
throw it in my face. I think that would help. Because I didn't
And-
quite understand even what the price points were, what you were charging, but I think that'd be useful.
And not even, and just to piggyback on that one, Laurie, I think it's like you really got to, what I didn't see from the, if from anywhere was like anyone in the CFO role at the hospital, or like any one of the evidence from the buyers that they actually want to buy this.
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, you're not selling it today, you're kind of pre-trials and all of that stuff, but like you've got to leave us with the impression that they want this now. Like they can't wait for this to be proven. And yes, there's kind of that clinical test barrier. That's why they're not paying you today for it, but they are begging for this kind of solution. And I really didn't come out of it feeling like that there's this really, really big market pull. At least the way you're presenting it. And like Laurie said, it's like it's super clear that, you know, you've got three really, really good pillars of value of, you know, it's works just, sorry, it's a better product. It saves time and or sorry, better product, better patient experience in terms of time saved and outcomes. And anyone can also use it. So then you're like allowing this kind of distribution. Like there's a few really good pillars that those people should care about. But you've got to just punch those a little bit harder. Even the first story, like it's a nice story, but that doesn't really speak to all three of those. It speaks to one piece of the experience. Sorry, Laurie, I kind of cut you off and piggybacked there.
No, it's fine. I guess I see lots and lots of life sciences companies like this. And at the end of the day, they all appear to be doing some great things that are going to benefit humanity. But at the end of the day, the system can only afford so many of them. And so the person who's got to make the decision about what to buy and what not to buy has got a tough call. But my suspicion is yours pays off fairly quickly. So you didn't make that point strong. The other point was you talked a little bit about partnership with a scan provider. I suspect that's going to be your strongest channel to market. And so I think I would like to have a little bit more detail on that one, in particular what the benefit is to them. Because on the surface, it looks like they don't benefit from it. Because if you can do significant more scans with the same equipment, they get hurt. At least that's the impression I get. So somehow you've got to explain why these scan companies, why they want to partner with you, why they want to sell your software, and what's going to be their incentive to push it.
Yeah, I can
definitely. And I agree with that point of like you had it as a slide data collection, and it was like in a middle point. So I would, if also in the interest of time, if you're trying to cut down, I would get rid of that slide, put that point about this partnership in more of a go-to-market business model motion, because that's really what that point is about. And then the other points that you had there, you kind of already addressed them. Like you talked about saving time, and I forget what the first one was, but like I had heard it just on the slide before. So that slide was a little bit repetitive. And you're right. That is the highlight of that slide, is that partnership. And you just need to showcase what that means. And maybe it does tie into the business model that is per scan. You're right. Yes, they get to do more scans, but maybe there's a rev share with them where they get paid as part of the scan, but that information wasn't there.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's great.
So we're giving you lots of feedback, but be clear, this was an excellent presentation. And I think it's one of the better ones I've seen in a long time. It's very seldom people answer most of the questions in a 10-minute presentation. So congratulations. I don't think I've got anything else that
I've got a few more I'll throw in. So overall, again, it's just there's these other pieces, really understanding who really cares, or who is the person that is paying that's going to care. And I'd love to hear a mini quote or testimonial or something like that from one of those individuals.
Right. Okay.
Just to validate a little bit more of they hate that they have spent this much, or that there's this many delays, or this many repeat customers, or repeat patients.
Yeah, I can totally get that.
The doctors, for the doctors, their patients; for the CFO, their customers.
Yeah, there you go. Random question. You had like a little throw in of like, we're going to expand in Maryland.
Yeah, so I put my beachhead market as Maryland just because we have our advisor there, so it's easy to get like more partnerships.
Okay, that was just a little bit kind of random and not clear. I would even just take that
Out.
out of like beachhead, and you call it, of like
Mhm.
clinics that we have early ins to or something like that. Like,
Okay.
you know, because otherwise it's like, oh, does Maryland have a different regulatory thing? Are they
Okay,
more
yeah, I
for
understand.
this? Do you have, I don't know, like it seemed a little bit
Mhm,
random.
mhm.
I think so. The roadmap slide, but
Yeah.
it was I liked it. It really pounds in a little bit more of like, look at all the stuff we've actually done.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
I worry that sometimes this company is, you're still like, there's still a lot to do, but actually we've been like slowly moving along and progressing, and it creates a good picture of, you know, you've made it this far and you will continue to do this whether you give us money or not. We're going to like keep executing because we have been
Right.
executing. And I feel like that just should be a little bit sooner to summarize your accomplishments
Oh, okay, okay.
as you're then making the ask.
Okay, okay.
Curious why you are, if you're like, I guess you plan to be CEO after the raise. Is that just because there'll be kind of a change in equity or a reset of the cap table?
Yeah, just a reset, exactly. So we didn't want to, I guess, go through all the legal aspects of it
Okay.
now, since we would
Yeah.
have to.
Okay. I just like, why not now? If you're going to be the CEO, be the CEO.
Right.
And
So that's actually a question I wanted to ask. Like, should I just start presenting myself as CEO, and then, and even if the, let's say, the legal aspects of it haven't completely been transitioned, or be honest and say,
There
well,
can't be much legal transaction to
well,
change the
yeah, there's not
CEO.
much.
well, sorry,
That's it.
are you getting an equity boost?
Um, no, we're not. I'm not, but it also will depend on the raise and what the investors kind of suggest, because sometimes they would like to see, right now with my co-founder, we're equal shared. Sometimes they want to see it pivoting a little bit higher towards one versus.
And it's like, so if from a bylaw perspective, like who approves a title change and you don't have any existing investors and it's just the two of you,
Just the two
then
of
I
us.
would,
Yeah.
then I would make the title change.
Then you,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Like
Yeah.
if there's no other, and if there's not an equity shift that's taking, and like Easter,
Right.
even if there is an equity shift that's taking place, be the CEO. You're raising the money, you're doing all the work,
Right.
you're doing like
Investors wanted to be talking to the CEO, not somebody
100%,
else.
100%.
Right. Okay. Okay. So
So
just go with it. Yeah.
go with, yeah, it's a weird asterisk that will cause more friction
I
than
see.
anything.
Okay.
Uh,
No, that's good. Yeah. Thank
especially
you
if
for.
and especially if the other individual is not full-time right now in the
Yeah.
business,
No, he's
right?
not.
Like it's not necessarily a red flag for these academic spin-outs, but it eventually becomes one, especially if you're asking for money.
Yeah.
The other one too, I guess it is hard for companies like yours where you're presenting like, we've done a little study and then we're going to do more studies,
Yeah.
and but we need money now. And from the investor seat, it's like, well, I'm just going to wait and see how those studies turn out,
I
because you're not
know.
going to be able to sell it until you
Mhm.
have more proof.
Mhm.
So I think you really need to reframe how you're presenting the future studies, I guess.
Okay.
And that the one that you've done is unlocking a lot of things, like, and
Yeah.
whether it is actually unlocking them or not, it just has to be presented in that way a little bit more to create the urgency of this raise. Because otherwise, like,
Yeah.
I've
Exactly.
seen it so many of like, great, tell me
Mhm.
when the study comes out. Does this work
Yeah.
or does
Yeah. That's happened. I've heard that already.
yes. So, and you will continue to hear it
Yeah.
until you shift a little bit of like, you got to create a little bit more FOMO and be maybe a little bit less,
I like
I don't
that.
know, less honest, but
Mhm.
less transparent about, no, maybe not, it's make the one that you've done seem a little bit more important. And then these
Yeah.
are just extra validating one to open up more markets or something like that. I don't know, Laurie, if
I,
there's,
I
I
think
don't
the other
know.
way to say it is, I think that we see lots of life sciences coming, and the trouble with most of them is like there's so many things that can go wrong between now and success. And then clinical trials can fail, the FDA approval can fail, there's a whole bunch of things that can fail. In your case, I suspect there's a lot less of that. I mean, you're not potentially killing patients. And so that I think your path to profitability is less risky than a lot of other life sciences companies. And that needs to be clear. Like that's sort of what Nolan was saying as well. But you just need to say the going forward risk is much less than with other similar life sciences companies.
Okay. Like make a
Did you have a slide? Did you slide on actually the raise? I can't remember what.
Yeah, I did.
What you said.
It was
Can
one
you
of the last.
pop it up again?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I think I might have closed the. Let me just share again. It's this one.
Yeah. So what is the actual terms of the raise?
Yeah, so I never know if I should put it here or just, I guess, wait till. Because right now we're negotiating with the General Hospital Foundation, so.
Okay.
You can say, yeah, terms, I just say terms are we're negotiating our terms with.
Yeah.
But is it likely to be a debt or equity deal?
They would be, yeah, safes and convertible notes, not an equity deal.
Okay. And if it's a safe or convertible debt, when's your next round likely to be?
In 2 years. Should I be putting that on the roadmap
Well,
as well?
I
Like,
guess
show
I'll just.
Yeah.
I tell you what my concern would be as an
Yeah.
investor.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking me to put money in today at a valuation that's going to be set in 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where, if I invest in equity today, I mean, there's going to be presumably significant.
Yeah, there's a risk. Right?
So again, my personal perspective, I don't mind investing in safes, but only if the next round is coming relatively soon. 2 years is far enough away that, like, why would I take all the risk and not get any of the upside?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just saying change, because if you can get somebody to invest in a safe, take it. But I'm just saying you may get some pushback from some investors who say, I'm not interested in a debt deal at this early stage.
I see. Okay.
But don't change until you have to. I didn't have anything else. I said it was a great presentation.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was all.
It sounded like a great
comments.
business.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Those were great comments. I'll definitely implement them.
Katie, do you have to? I got one more actually.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. I guess we all cancel this next one.
Yeah.
So I think, again, going back to your
Mm-hmm.
different value proposition and looking at your competitor slide, there was one part of the slide that, like, at least the way you've broken down you had 4 kind of lines.
Yeah.
Top 2 were already kind of a little crowded. And like, I looked up Elucid and like, they look like their technology is really impressive. And like, from a pure product standpoint, it might be a better product, or they're more advanced than you. They're more like, so I think you really do need to key in as a differentiation there too about the other elements of, and I think it was that you can be used with existing hardware. So there's no additional hardware cost, or that you can be, deployed by anyone. And, and like, this is for the quick scans. And then, there's like, again, it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more opportunity to play that card because you're going against some other people. And maybe that's what needs to come out a little bit more, that existing solutions are, because if there are tools that are doing the scanning technology piece quite well already, or getting those outputs, then you're not necessarily going to win there. You might be able to be on par, but there's other layers that your technology works a little bit better, and can be
highlighting more
go to market, can be an advantage in the story. And again, you looked like they're 70-80% company, still growing nicely, adding headcount in the last 2 years, which is much better than most startups when I look that up. Those are not a startup anymore. They're
no.
So it is true that so if you go into a hospital, they can use their existing hardware, they can use their existing staff with their existing training, There's nothing that really need to change, other than they pay you a license fee to process the things, correct? But
Right.
again, going back to the CFO discussion, if he needs to do a capital raise, that's a
Mhm.
long drawn out process. If he just needs to spend a little bit more every month on OpEx, that's a much easier sell. So I think, again, that needs to be a stronger point as well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, okay.
training in hospitals and new staff and new equipment is a complex process. If you can do it with existing equipment and existing training, I think, again, I think there's a big win,
Okay, so yeah,
not
definitely.
only for the doctors, but I said also for the CFO.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Anything else, Nolan?
No, that was not that. Now that's it for me.
okay,
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you.
Fantastic.
That was very valuable for me. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Of course, now we've made your 3 minutes overtime being now 7 or 8, or another 7 or 8 minutes overtime, so you have some trimming to do, but
Yeah.
Yeah, trimming is good though, because you've got it jam-packed with
Exactly.
great
Once I have
information.
everything I want inside, then I think it'll be
Yeah.
okay to trim.
And you know, lots of feedback means that there's interest and engagement, and it was clear. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Laurie and Nolan. Fabulous. Karina, great job. And I'm going to be sharing the recording very quickly. I've also taken some notes from feedback, so you'll get my notes as well as yours.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you
Sounds
all
good.
very much.
thanks a lot.
Bye.
Hope to see you again.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.